K. Ford Sens Nation podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Jim K. Ford Sens Nation podcast. Man, things were going well last time we got together. We were celebrating an opening night victory for the Senators. The Blue Jays were on into the ALCS, seemingly unstoppable. And a couple of games later, everything's changed. The Sens get whomped in Florida. They lose their home opener. They lose Brady Tkachuk to injury. And the Blue Jays lose, as we speak, as we record this right now, the first two games of the ALCS. What happened, Greg? What happened?
A terrible weekend. Don't forget the Red Blacks lost again. That was a terrible football game. Yeah, it's not a good weekend for your Ottawa area sports fan. Not good at all.
Yeah. Bills lose too, right? The Bills, at least the Leafs lost. The Leafs lost the weekend. That's something. And it was Thanksgiving, and I've had a whole bunch of Thanksgiving leftovers. It was good. Like we had a smaller group this year, so the leftovers are plentiful. And I'm breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like who needs gravy at breakfast? This guy apparently. So I got another day left on it. But let's get into things. And I think the big news, obviously, is the injury to Sens captain Brady Tkachuk. He gets hurt in the Nashville game, which the Predators win, and I thought the Sens had a good bounce back from the game against Florida, but still not enough for a W. Nashville comes away with it, and worse, Brady Tkachuk suffers either a wrist or a right hand injury after going into the end boards after a cross-check from behind from Roman Josi in the early going of that hockey game. He hung around for a while, but by the time the middle of the third period rolled around, Tkachuk was done. He stayed on the bench. And today, that being Tuesday as we record this, the Sens announced that he's gone for a minimum problem. They're saying about a month, but could be longer than that. He might need surgery. He might not. So there's some lack of clarity there. So it could be a good deal longer than a month. Very disappointing for Sens fans, Greg.
Well, it's terrible. Like, what's worse, right? You're 1-2. You can't score goals yet again, and now you've lost your captain, your leader, you're a guy who can score goals. Like that's a serious hole to fill. Drake Batherson coming back Wednesday night will help, but I don't know. I watched the Brady thing. I watched it over and over. I rewound it. Like when it happened, I thought, that doesn't look good. Like he jammed his wrist, or maybe it's a finger. I spent time Googling. I was looking up boxer's fracture, which is the bone in your finger there. I spent time trying to figure out, 4 to 6 weeks, but then they said maybe surgery. So surgery for a broken wrist doesn't sound normal. Like, is it a ligament thing? Is it who knows? As per the norm, we're never going to know. But 4 to 6 weeks without Brady Tkachuk is a tough hill to climb.
Let's talk about the dirt meter. Roman Josi is a guy that vies for Norris trophies quite a lot in his career. Skilled defenseman, one of the best. Getting on in years now. Not exactly known for this kind of thing, so I have to have that in the back of my head when I basically measure the old dirt meter. How dirty was this hit, if at all?
It wasn't at all. If Brady Tkachuk were a defenseman, he'd be doing that 60 times a game. Like that is not. It was not dirty. I mean, he's clearing the front of the net. He's shoving a guy out of the way. It wasn't like it was 2 feet from the boards. My God, it was almost level with the top of the blue paint where he was when he hit him. Like he was pretty far away from the boards. So when Yossi's doing it, he has no thought that Brady's going to go into the wall hard from there. It was just get a guy out of the front of the net, and as a bonus, it's Brady. I can give him a little whack and a little in the back there at the same time. That's all it was. I don't think there was any malicious intent. There was no. I don't think it was dirty at all. What do you think? And please don't tell me you think it was dirty.
No, not dirty. I just think it was a lack of understanding the consequences of the situation. I think his intent was entirely not malicious. His intent was to run interference for his guy because his teammates coming around. I don't know if you remember, this is like 80s. You'd probably remember more than most of our listeners when Wendell Clark comes behind the net. I think it was Bell from St. Louis who got his bell very much rung by Wendell Clark coming around the net. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the all-timers. Go ahead and YouTube, Google that puppy. That's a beauty. And you know who their goalie was at the time? The goalie was Taco. They had Taco Bell playing for them there. Anyway, I digress. But yes, I remember the hit.
Who's Taco?
Kerry Taco was a goalie.
Oh, Kerry Taco. Right. I forgot all
Yeah.
about him. Anyway, so I think that was what popped into Roman Yossi's mind because basically Tkachuk is taking an inside lane between Yossi and the goalpost, Nashville's goalpost, and I think he was worried that his guy was going to get blown up by Tkachuk because we all know Tkachuk got that reputation of throwing big hits when he can, and I think that's what he was thinking about. And so he's trying to clear him out of the way or distract him or do something so that
Block.
he's not in the trolley tracks anymore. And to me, it's a little bit. I could probably compare it to the Drake Batherson thing. It was. I don't think Dell was thinking, I want to injure Batherson. I think he just wanted to run interference for his guy.
Yeah.
I think that one was pretty vicious. But you get my point. I think that the main intent was to help your teammate, and so that's sort of how I read it. I don't look at it as dirty, but I do look at it as reckless and suspendable because you hit a guy with a cross check in the back, and that's the result. I think it deserved more than a 2-minute minor. I've seen worse where guys get chucked out of the game, so I didn't like it. I guess one of the big questions I'd have in here as well is why is Tkachuk staying in that hockey game for so long?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Did he? It happened in the first. He didn't leave to midway through the third. Did he hurt it worse? Maybe it's somewhere along the way. That's my worry. I think the sense there was no harm done. I believe Travis Green mentioned that today at the news conference, but I mean, who knows for sure? Like, why isn't he shutting it down? Why isn't someone else shutting him down? Where's the X-ray and the intermission and stuff? Like, I found that interesting that he was not shut down, and hopefully it wasn't worsened by the amount of hockey that he played after the actual incident.
Has the team acknowledged that was the play?
Yes.
Okay, so then it did happen then. Yeah, then you're right. You make valid points and ask reasonable questions there. If that's the case, like how did it get worse as the game went on that it's now suddenly we got to shut him down? And they said, like Travis Green said, no, it wasn't precautionary. We shut him down because he couldn't play, and that's rare, right? Like that's the kind of questions that people were asking post game. It was not a precautionary thing. It was like he couldn't play. So if it's bad enough that he couldn't play, and it happened at that time in the first period, then what was he doing playing the second? And like nobody looked at it with any serious thought in the first intermission. I don't know. Only the senators and the medical staff can give us the answer to that one, or maybe Brady just said, "No, I'm fine. Don't worry about it." Like we don't even know, right? We're speculating.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to play this clip, and it does have some audio, but just ignore it if there's anything you want to react to as we go here. But this is a clip of what happened in the game on Monday afternoon. Go ahead.
Ooh, you can liken it to a block in the back during a kick return in football.
Right. Like there's the cross check right at the goal line.
And it is
That's a
deeper than I
long way
thought.
from the boards.
Yeah.
It's a long way from the boards, and I think initially I thought that maybe Tkachuk was trying to sell it, but look at his feet.
No, he's lost his balance.
He's lost his balance. He's basically, what do you say, ass over tea kettle or something like that. And it's one thing to sell something, but that's not selling to me. And initially it looked like he had time to stop potentially, but seeing his skate positioning and his awkwardness there's no question in my mind that he wasn't trying to do anything. He just basically lost his balance. And part of it is, and another sort of reference to the Batherson thing, Batherson did not have any idea that was coming. And he certainly, in the Tkachuk case, Yossi had no idea he was going to get that from Yossi. No, he didn't blow him up. It wasn't boarding per se, and it was well out from the board. So I think Yossi has every right to think that I can give him a little shot here to make sure he doesn't mow my guy over. But it was still reckless and still, I think, deserved more than a 2-minute minor. But I think entirely accidental. I don't think anything malicious when you get down to it.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's amazing. They say it all the time, real time versus slow motion. Like in slow motion, it looks way worse, right? Like in real time, it doesn't look all that bad. And I apologize. I thought the initial contact happened much higher up the ice, but yeah, it's by the time he gets to the goal line before he follows through with the cross check. But still, like, I I'm sorry. This guy on YouTube there wanted to give it 4 games. That's pretty harsh. I can't see that happening. I can't see there being any games, let alone 4. It wasn't even called as a major. So I think unfortunately we just got to suck it up and live with it.
So if that's the way you feel, then you're fine with the fact there was really no response. Like when it happened,
Yeah,
and we just
yeah,
saw, a video of Pinto coming around at the moment where Kachuk's face is going into the boards, and he skated right by the whole proceedings, and like really nobody did anything. Was it? So I guess if you don't think it was dirty, then maybe it didn't rise to the level of something that needed to be tended to by the tough guys.
yeah. I'd like to think that if the team looked at it later in the first intermission or even on the bench on their iPads, then and they got to see it the way we just saw it, slow motion with that behind the net view, that then somebody might have got riled up. I mean, Brady took a couple of runs at Yossi thereafter, a couple more times throughout the rest of the period. But as far as instantaneously someone turning around and jumping Yossi, uh, I don't know. I don't know, Steve. I just don't know.
All
I
right.
know I'm supposed to have a
Well,
definitive response here, but I'm thinking, I don't think anybody at the time knew how serious it was. So that's probably why there's no immediate response on the ice.
right, right. That's probably part of it. And honestly, McDermott didn't play. Ole Luxell got the start as their 12th forward. Kachuk was dinged up. Even in the moment after, he went after Yossi and tried to shove him a little bit, and then others intervened. But even at that stage, he wasn't going to be able to fight, because that was right when he realized, oh my God, my right hand is just killing me right now, or wrist. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if it was wrist, hand, shoulder, but he did not look right. And again, it leads to the question, why did he play so much yesterday?
Yeah.
Because now he's not going to play at all for over a month, and depending on the X-rays, he might be out longer. He might need surgery. Very disappointing for Sens fans. And the game itself, the last 2 games, not particularly great. I thought they were the better team against Nashville, but going back to that Florida game after such a nice comeback against Tampa Bay, that was just junk. And we start
Terrible.
with Ullmark. Ullmark was terrible, don't you think?
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah. Nobody played well. I had a tough time finding
No.
anybody who played well or who looked like they were there and interested and engaged for 60 minutes. That was ugly, ugly game
Pinto.
in Tampa. Yeah, Pinto's your only guy, right? Like, just but an ugly game all around. Like this is a it better not become too much of a pattern here of a team that gets behind and tries to come back because they don't score enough at 5-on-5 to try to play catch up every night. That's going to be a problem. But yeah, they don't score enough goals. They don't create enough. They don't get enough. Don't seem to get enough grade A chances. I mean, maybe stats will tell me otherwise, but I don't think they get enough good grade A scoring chances. They don't create enough. They don't make enough happen. They rely too much on the dirty nose goal or the rush goal, right? They score goals off the rush, off odd man rushes, or they score goals off of a dump and chase and grind and point shot and cluster around the net and whack and get a goal. The power play has not been strong enough at all. The PK got a little better, but the power play isn't enough. You can't rely on that this year the way, at least so far, the way they did last year. They got so many goals on the power play last year that the 5-on-5 was almost masked for most of the season. And nobody really talked about the fact that the Senators couldn't score 5-on-5. It wasn't until late in the year when you sit there and look at the stats and you realize, oh yeah, they're really low in the league. This is a problem. But it's a continued problem now. And I don't know what the solution is. It's only going to get tougher without Brady.
You see little blips of progress, but it's about doing it consistently, game in, game out, and it's too early to judge at this stage. But I mean, you look at their 5-on-5 in the Tampa Bay game. I think all their goals, if not mistaken, were at 5-on-5, at least 4 of the 5. Anyway, then you look at, everybody's worried about the penalty kill. Well, it went 6 for 6 in the game against Nashville, but it's about being consistent, game in, game out, which has been really an ongoing motto for 2 years now. And they've arrived in some ways, but in some of these other ways, they're still in that process. I'm not saying they're back, they're not still at DJ Smith level, or at least that era. It's not all DJ Smith's fault, but there's still work to be done in these other areas. And Linus Ullmark had, I'm going to call it, a disappointing year last year. He had some great moments. He went on 6 and 7 game win streaks, but he also went on long funks. He was injury prone. I was hoping, 100% comes in, that he would be ready to roll. And I think I mentioned this in the last episode. It's not just that he's had some glitchy moments. And again, in that Florida game, not good at all. But even Tampa, I'm looking at him and he looks to me like a guy that, I don't know, he looks like he's 48 years old sometimes. He gets down, makes a save, and then he's getting up like, oh, my back is killing me. Oh, here we go. Like I'm worried a little bit about Linus Ullmark. It's very, very early, and I thought he was much, much better in the Nashville game. But I got concerns about Linus Ullmark because that 4-year contract at $8 million per and change has just begun. It's only 3 games old, and I don't want to be feeling this way about the guy who was supposed to be the solution to the goalie graveyard, and I'm not seeing it yet.
Well, I think to address your old man getting up, I agree with you. I think part of the problem is that he's not an athletic goalie. He's not the guy who's going to make the flopping around save, the Dominic Hasek save. He's a big goalie who plays angles well and just gets his body in the right place. He has good movement and gets his body in the right place, and the puck hits him, right? He's not necessarily athletic, despite the one great, huge save last year against Boston when he dove across and made that save. But generally speaking, he's just a big guy who gets in the right place at the right time and makes saves. So if his rebound control is off, then he has to, improvise and come up with a way to dive somewhere or scramble somewhere, not his strength. If shots coming to the net are deflected in some way over to a guy over to his side, moving over there quickly and diving across the crease, not his thing. Power play, quick cross crease pass, guy on another angle, not his thing. So it's tough to watch sometimes if the Senators aren't containing the quality of shots and the shooting angles that they're giving up. And the pass lanes that they're allowing, it's tough to watch Ullmark play some nights. And unfortunately, it's already been two and a half where it was tough to watch him.
Well, I mean, I look back to the Florida game, the Brad Marchand goal where he's, basically the back checkers are coming down and Marchand's got a breakaway, but he doesn't have a lot of gap between the back checkers and him. And he takes this really slow move to his backhand. And at that stage of the game, I would have thought, okay, Ullmark's going to just T-push over and take that away from him. But he does this weird Superman dive, and Marchand basically said, thank you very much, and just slid it along the ice underneath him. And but the one that everybody was talking about, though, was the glove save or attempt. Was it Lundell? I forget exactly who took the shot. It's a 2-on-1. And the Panther guy is at the top of the circle and takes a hard snapshot. And Ullmark makes a glove save, and he's somehow, it's like it looked like a routine shot. He saw it all the way. It wasn't like there was any kind of screen or anything. The shot is taken, and he ends up falling forward, doing the splits, falling on his face, and he basically hiked the puck through his own legs as he's lying face first on the ice. I'm like, what the hell kind of technique was that, dude? It looked to me like a guy who was trying to, the Patrick Roy thing, right? Oh, what a great save. Oh, I dropped the puck. It looked like a guy that was hot dogging it to me.
To a certain extent, yeah, it looked like it was a standard everyday glove save, and he just couldn't handle it. I don't know, Steve. Well, now you mentioned the Patrick Roy.
Why is he in the splits?
Okay. I thought the deke by Marchand was way worse. Like, my God, it was almost in slow motion. Like I don't do a 2-pad stack. I'm going to bring up Dominic Hasek again. The reason Dominic Hasek was so good was that his mind was constantly assessing the situation and not trying to figure out what he should do, but trying to figure out what the opponent is going to do. What are the options? And therefore, if the option is only this, then I'm going to take that away. And as you watch Marchand coming down the ice with the pressure on behind him, the only thing he was going to do, it was if it was going to be a shot, it was going to be hassled by guys behind him. It wouldn't have been that hard to stay in the middle of the net and stop it. The only thing really, the best chance he had was to pull it to his backhand. You had to see that coming. You had to know that's what he was going to do. And a simple 2-pad stack to your left, and it's stopped. That one bothered me more than the glove thing. That glove thing was just, I don't know, you can't hang on to the puck. Like, what's going on? That reminded me of, who was it here who couldn't catch a puck half the time? Matt Murray couldn't catch a puck. Remember those days? Holy smokes, nothing. A guy, you could put it right in his glove and he couldn't hang on to it. I just think he's in a bit of a funk. I don't know. He just doesn't seem, or hasn't seemed actually, despite, other than that one little stretch last year, I don't. He doesn't seem like the Vezina caliber goaltender that played in Boston since he's been here.
Right.
That's
Fingers crossed that fingers crossed that he finds his way. I was awfully hard on him in that particular segment, and but that's in the moment how I'm feeling about it, and so that's sort of my job to say what I'm feeling at the moment. And you're right, it's Matt Murray. I think that most people would say, okay, when you're talking about problems with the glove, yeah. Trouble with the curve, problem with the glove, and the guy that came to mind for me though was Don Beaupre when you first said it.
Oh yeah. He had a tough time with the glove hand too.
Big time.
And that Patrick Waugh thing. Now I don't like Patrick Waugh. Don't like the Habs. Historically speaking, not a fan of Patrick Waugh. But when he brought that puck up in the air, I don't think he was trying to hot dog. I think he was saying, "Hey, blow the whistle. I've got the puck." I think that's what he was doing. Maybe I'm defending him, but I don't think he was showing off or being a hot dog. I think he was just, there was a scramble, and I got it. And he, turn to the ref, blow the whistle, and oops, maybe I don't have it. Anyway, sorry. Digression.
Maybe you're right. It's possible. That was those great Colorado-Detroit playoff matchups. Yeah. They were fabulous. Back to the Tkachuk thing though. Before we wrap up on it, how do they proceed exactly? I think they have more depth than they have had in recent years. Like, this would have been a real problem. Like, it's a problem. Don't get me wrong. He's the guy that drags him into the fight. He's the guy that, he's the heart and soul, all that stuff that everybody talks about. And rightly so. He's definitely that. But they are deeper. They do have, like, the Sens right now, I like their forwards in that there's, you can move them around. You're not afraid to put it at the fourth line like you would be 3-4 years ago. There are guys that will be able to pick up the slack here, and then they get Batherson back directly. So that's your second leading goal scorer and second leading point getter, even more than Brady Tkachuk, though he was hurt last year. So that's huge to get him back. But you've got a leadership void to deal with. You've got an offensive void to deal with. Like, how can they fill that void, and how will they try?
No, they can't. You can fill the void minutes-wise, no problem. You can get quality, effective minutes out of other people. You cannot fill the void physicality-wise, leadership-wise, or I dare I say it, points-wise either. I don't see how it happens. Nobody on this team's going to pick up, well, I mean, assuming Stutzle gets going to his level and Batherson plays to his level, who's going to provide the offense that Brady would provide over the course of a 4 to 6 week period? Nobody. I don't see anybody who's going to step up and produce his offensive numbers, and I don't see anybody who's going to step up and play the kind of game that he plays, because we've all said it, he's a unicorn. Nobody plays that way. So to fill the void physically, not going to happen, and to fill the void statistically, I don't think it's going to happen. The only way you can fill that void is with minutes. You've got guys who can play minutes, no problem, but you're not getting the goals, and you're not getting the leadership, and you're not getting the physicality from anybody else.
Well, the one thing that popped to my mind would be you elevate Shane Pinto and you make either Stutzle or Pinto start playing the wing on that top line. And then now you're talking about filling Pinto's role, though he's been getting a lot more ice time than you'd say from the standard third liners. But you elevate him, and then now you've got Ridley Gregg that takes Pinto's third line center role, and I don't know, elevate Eller or something like that. To me, they've got enough depth where you can move chess pieces around. It's going to hurt, but I think they'll still be able to keep their head above water without Brady Tkachuk by doing something like that. And I'm intrigued to see what the line combinations now look like. They had an optional skate on Tuesday, but game day skate tomorrow is going to be interesting to see what life looks like without Brady Tkachuk. We saw a little bit of it last year after the Four Nations face-off.
Right.
It's going to be this is going to be a lot of cocktail napkin scribbling from Travis Green figuring out how to work this without his heart and soul
You
guy.
could you could sure use your 14 first half Adam Gaudette goals.
True, true.
And I don't know
Yeah,
who's producing that. Like I watched Zetterlund. Zetterlund was their best player in the third period. Up to that point, he didn't look good. In the second period, he was taken off the top line and shifted around a lot. But in the third period, I thought he was their best forward. But still, no offensive thrust, no offensive threat, no, bring me out of my chair. Oh, he almost scored. It just doesn't seem to be happening for him. Dylan Cousins, I don't. I mean, he nice player, but he's not going to score. I don't know that he's ever going to score 30 again in this league. He's probably a 25 guy at max. So David Perron is a little bit snake bitten too. Claude Giroux, has he scored yet this? Oh, he scored the empty netter.
yeah.
Somebody's got to start scoring, and it would be really nice if 3 or 4 guys started scoring. That's first and foremost. That's the first problem to address. Never mind who's playing with who. I don't even care who's on a power play or who's killing penalties. Just figure out a way to start scoring some goals at 5-on-5.
Yep, that's going to be a challenge for sure. Because while I do like basically the entire, save for maybe the 13th, 14th forward, or 12th, 13th forward, I like all the forwards. But there's also that deal about don't mistake, how active a player is and how impressive and two-way and stuff. That somewhere along the way you got to be productive as well. You got to create.
Right.
Either indirectly or directly, some actual goal scoring. And it's been hard to come by so far. I mean, they lost the Nashville game entirely. I was hard on Ullmark. I thought Ullmark was really good in the Nashville game. I didn't love the Marchessault goal coming out from the corner and beating him between the pads. But generally speaking, he made a bunch of 5-alarm saves that were outstanding that kind of make up for that. But he got no run support in that one. And the Sens just couldn't bury something. UC Saros, good as Ullmark was in that one in a bounce-back game, Saros was the best goalie that night.
Sure.
But it's not like they didn't have any opportunities. They just couldn't finish. So that is something that's got to get going. No question about that.
Look, I've played a lot of games. The great ones you'll remember. That's what these lights do. They turn moments into memories. Legendary lighting, Celebrate is the real deal. Permanent lights, year-round style.
Celebrate isn't just about making your home look great during the holidays. It's about keeping your home safe too. A well-lit home is a secure home. And the best part, you can instantly change up the vibe. Whether it's for security, for style, or any holiday in between, Celebrate has you covered. Permanent holiday lighting you'll love year-round.
Okay, so last week we did Coach's Corner, and this is a bit of a Coach's Corner as well, but it's also Referee's Corner, the rules and things. Because there were a couple of moments in the last week that were head scratchers to Sens fans. Going back to that Ullmark goal, I know I gave him a hard time on it. The one he should have caught. He did catch and then dropped and threw it between his legs, basically, as he laid on the ice. So in the splits. Not sure what the hell was happening there. Anyway, the whistle clearly went before that puck dribbled over the line. And so fans were like, okay, that's clearly the whistle is gone. They reviewed it, coach's challenge and all that, and all of a sudden it's a goal because the puck was always in continuous motion, and that apparently is the rule. I don't know if it should be, but what did you think of that whole thing?
I thought it was kind of crazy. My first thought was exactly as you said. The whistle went. I don't care. The whistle went. How many times have we seen that over the years? The whistle blows, the whistle blows. Like if the puck goes between my legs and it's rolling towards the goal line, how many times have you seen a guy reach in behind the goalie and whack it in? Even if it's after the whistle, the guy reaches behind, whacks it in, and he turns to the ref, and the ref says, "Oh no, I blew the whistle. I blew the whistle." Well, but wait a minute, ref. Continuous motion. The puck was still moving. So is the difference that I touched it with my stick? If I didn't touch it with my stick, it probably would have still rolled in. So this whole continuous motion thing really threw me off. I don't know that I'd ever heard it before. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks I have, but with my mind and my age, I don't know. But it threw me off. I was not expecting that. I was expecting him to clearly say, "Hey, whistle blew, no goal, done." What'd you think?
Yeah. I didn't know the rule, honestly. I figured that it was a case of if the whistle goes, that's the end of the play. But I guess if the puck on its own goes to the net and clears that line, that it's a goal. But it makes me wonder about other unique circumstances. Like, what if it's like in the last 10 seconds of a game, a team ices the puck and the goalies say, for whatever reason, out at the top of the circle, and it beats him 5-hole and just really slowly starts trickling toward the empty net, and the buzzer goes. Okay, the buzzer's gone, but the puck is still going doink, 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 and it goes on for 5 seconds. So what is that? Is that going to be a goal too? Like the Stanley Cup celebration's already underway, but wait, doink, 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 still heading for the net. We might still win this thing. So silly.
I don't know. I do have an NHL rule book here. I should look it up. I should go look up continuous motion and see if it's even in there.
It is, yeah. A lot of people posted the actual rule online.
Okay.
That's why I kind of presented it that way. I
Yeah.
guess it is a rule, but I don't know that it should be for the reason I indicated there. You've got to whistle for a reason.
Okay, but what do we think about the Stutzle, the Stutzle stick skate to the pad on Saros, and how'd you feel about that call?
It didn't look like enough from Stutzle to be constituting goalie interference. It seemed to happen. It was definitely contact with skate to the goalie pad, but it looked like enough time had elapsed for him to reset. And what's more, it didn't look like the contact even required him to reset. It was just, to me, it was a great shot by Jake Sanderson. I was really surprised that was goalie interference. But I guess it'll all come down to this. What team are you have allegiance to, and you'll look at it that way.
Well,
What did you think?
I look at it. I look at it as he clearly needed his left blade on the ice to push off to get over there in position to stop Sanderson's shot. So the question is, how badly was he affected by the Stutzle push? Did he have enough time, as you just said? Did he have enough time? You think he did to set his foot and push off? I think the part that bothers me the most is if Stutzle hadn't touched him, the puck was still going in. It was a great shot. It was a great play. It was a goal. The continuous motion dictated that he was going to score. So this idea of, but he couldn't push off with his left foot, it wouldn't have mattered if he could have pushed off with his left foot. He wasn't going to stop it. So that's the part that bothers me the most. I do understand the ruling. I understand their logic behind it. And I guess if you played in real time, he's only got a split second to push off and get over there, and it seems like he should have been able to do it. But I don't know. I'm not a goalie. I've never played one. I've just critiqued them poorly on a podcast. But I thought he probably had time to reset and make the save too. But what do we know, eh?
Yeah, well, Stutzle, I mean, if we're to find fault, he can't be going in there and making contact with the goalie, because anytime you do that, I think that the NHL gives the goalie the benefit of the doubt. If there's any level of contact that's made prior to a goal being scored, whether it's 1 or 2 seconds, and the goalie looks like he's out of sorts, they almost always go, yeah, I guess that screwed him up when he was trying to make a save there. And so it always seems like, the golden rule should always be, don't make contact with the goaltender, because at that stage you run the risk of having the next 2 or 3 seconds. If somebody scores in that time period, you're not going to have your goal stand. So just a good little tip there when you get down. I'm not sure why I'm whispering, but I'm whispering right now. It's a good tip. You whisper and give tips. Anyway, defense, and we'll wrap it up. Donovan Sebrango, as we speak, has been placed on waivers. He played in the first 2 games for Cleven. Cleven comes back for game 3. I know you didn't love Cleven's game, but he goes in, and Sebrango is on waivers, presumably for the purpose of being sent down to the minors. And Jordan Spence got in for game 3, and Matt Palo comes out. So they didn't want to go with 8 defensemen, so it looks like they're going to break it down to 7 by way of Sebrango going down. So let's assess what we have here, whether it's Cleven whether it's Spence or whether it's Sabrango going down.
I have no problem with Sabrango going down. I mean, it was inevitable. I thought Clevin was absolutely horrible. He handled the puck like a live grenade through most of the night, stumbles and bumbles. I think of the very early one shift in the first period, twice on the left side of the ice behind the goal line. He skated over it, then he mishandled it, then he bobbled it. He had a tough night. I felt sorry for Spence a number of times. That it's kind of like we're saddling him with a guy who's basically playing his first game in how long? Clevin did not get into exhibition games and looked like a guy who needed more reps and needs to handle the puck at game pace and game speed and game situations. So hopefully he gets better. I'm sure he will. I thought Spence looked very good. I love watching him feet. I love watching him walk the line. He makes things happen in the offensive zone. He's able to generate some offense. Jensen was okay. I think when I look at
I didn't like that second goal though. The Nashville second goal.
yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir.
No, go ahead. You explain your second goal there. Out of position.
Yeah, he's coming over and takes a bad angle on Forsberg, and looks like he's trying to rub him out along the boards, but fails, and Forsberg powers through, and now it's an odd man rush that leads to Stamkos dropping it to O'Reilly, and that is the goal that broke the camel's back.
Getting back to Jordan Spence, though, I think when you watch forward lines and you see the team mixing and matching, and we talk about it, throw it into a blender and come up with different combinations. It seemed to me that Jordan Spence was playing well enough, and Clevin was struggling enough. Sanderson can handle more ice time. I thought, why not go down to 5? Why not elevate Spence, the quality of partner he's playing with, take advantage of his offensive game? It's a time for some offense, a time to score goals. So maybe give less ice time to Clevin for sure. Maybe give less ice time to Jensen and give more ice time to Spence. You need some offense, guys, and this guy can bring some offense. So I felt sorry for the guy. I thought he got saddled with a bad partner for the whole night, and I thought that he deserved a better opportunity and more minutes and better offensive situations, and I just thought he could have been used differently over the course of that game.
I'm very comfortable with Spence over Matt and Powell after seeing just that one game. The game is so much about skating and puck movement. I'm like anybody else. I like guys who have size and physicality. If they can fight, even better. But you still have to be able to handle the puck. And as we saw from most of last season with Travis Hamonic, that's a guy who could be physical. He'd block shots. He'd do the right things defensively, box guys out. But he just couldn't move the puck. Ford's never going to get going out of their zone if they've got the puck in their feet all the time. And honestly, Spence brings that in a way that the top 4 guys should. So I know that you've been talking Jordan Spence up for a while in those areas, and I was kind of wait and see. And now that I've seen it, I just think he's doing more back there. He's creating, and I can't take him out of the lineup again. Whether it's at the expense of Clevin, he plays on his wrong side, or whether it's at the expense of Matt and Powell, whatever. I think he's substantially better than both those two defensemen. Clevin's become a regular on this team. I get that, but I just don't think he has what Spence delivers. And however you get there, Spence is in my bottom pairing for now, and reserving the right to push him up if we need to.
I think my thing is, with his shortcomings, I'm at the stage now where I don't give a crap. I don't care if you think he's not physical enough. Not you, I mean the collective. I don't care if the collective doesn't think he's physical enough, doesn't think he's strong enough, doesn't think he's mean enough, big enough. I don't care. He brings offense. You're a team that has a difficult time scoring goals 5-on-5. You know it. You've acknowledged it. You admit it. You've talked about trying to make some changes to score more 5-on-5. This is an offensive guy. Play him more, in situations where you can take advantage of his pluses. Period. Oh, I ranted again. Good one.
There you go. There's the period. Good one. Something in the back there. Good job, Greg. Good job,
Mic
Coach.
drop.
There you go.
And did you notice how much better the PK was? Way better. Did you see how much more aggressive they were in the Nashville game? Way more aggressive. Way more aggressive. It was nice to see.
Yep, 6 for 6. Boom, shakalaka. Can't complain. Oh, was that 6 for 6 in Florida? No, it wouldn't have been 6 for 6. 6 for 6 against Nashville. So, yeah, quite a bit better. The Buffalo Sabres are the next opponent on Wednesday night. Buffalo will be hosting the Sens. If the Sens are feeling hard done by or unlucky, Tkachuk injury, it could always be Buffalo. Josh Norris, we talked about in the last episode. They're off to another bad start. But I don't know. That's as must-win for me as a Game 4 of an NHL season can be. The Sens need to beat the Buffalo Sabres tomorrow, don't they?
Do you remember last year we used to talk about must-win games, and I was talking about must-win games in October, and you were like, "No, we're not at that stage yet." Yeah, we are. You are. You're 1-2. You can't score, and you're playing a really crappy team. You better win. Like Buffalo's last game, the home opener, the fans are showing up with bags in their head. Some guy threw a sweater on the ice in the third period. They're calling for the GM's head, and you know Josh Norris. They're not scoring so much either. Tage Thompson better get going soon. Their defense has been atrocious. Their goaltending, they're missing their number one guy. Goaltender's not strong. This is a team. You better beat them on Wednesday night, and you better beat them convincingly. I don't want some 3-2 third period late goal squeaker. I don't want an overtime game. You better beat them by 2 or 3 or 4. You better show up and hammer them on Wednesday night.
I'll defend my earlier point, though, that it's not really a must. I prefaced it. It's a must-win, as must-win as a Game 4 of the season can be. That said, the season still has 78 games left, so I'm not gonna bill it officially a must-win at all. Okay. You're right; it's not ideal. It's going to mean a lot of angst in the city of Ottawa with the fan base and everybody listening right now, because you do not want to be the slump buster for the Buffalo freaking Sabres right now with the way they're going right now or not going. Okay,
it's not a must-win, but it's a better bloody well win.
Fair. Okay. A better bloody well win. I'm sure there's an acronym in there. Okay. An acronym in there. Yeah. But we'll take our leave. Thank you for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. The usual details. SensNationHockey.com is our website. The Hockey News Ottawa, all devoted to the Ottawa Senators. All kinds of great articles up there talking about Brady Tkachuk and his injury. Damn it. That's at thn.com/Ottawa. And hello to everybody listening on CJRO Radio. Everybody who listens to CJRO Radio is going to think that they shouldn't be listening because I can't pronounce the call letters. Every week I seem to screw it up. But thank you, CJRO, on 107 FM in the East End. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us, whether it's on audio podcast or on YouTube. And we appreciate it. And Greg, appreciate you. And we'll talk to you in our next episode.
I appreciate you too, Steve. Have a good night.
We'll see you.
Thanks for being with us on the Jim K. Ford Sens Nation podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe and review. Share the show with your friends and followers, or become a member on Patreon. Check out our website today at SensNationHockey.com.